Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. So, guys, we got updates on this. I was actually going to wait and just go tomorrow with Dr. Paul Cottrell. He'll be aboard tomorrow. But, when I saw the rise in cases, it was like, holy ducks.
Holy ducks. We had to come on. Thanks for showing up so late, those of you who are late.
Nathan, did you buy 3,000 cans of baked beans? I like baked beans. I really do.
I love baked beans.
I don't know if anybody's got a good recipe for baked beans out there. So good to see you guys. Good to see Angela, Darlene, and we got Alan and Zoe, MMB, Pink Poppet, Zero Rich. Yes. Holy ducks. Yeah. I don't know if you guys have seen the latest numbers, but they jumped a ton. 60,329 confirmed.
Yeah, 60,329 confirmed. That's pretty incredible.
So if you look at the graph over here on the side, it's going along, and then all of a sudden, wow. Okay, what happened here? And so we're going to get into that. You see, they're showing 5,995 recovered, and they're showing 1,369 deaths now. And 60,329 confirmed cases, 59,805 in mainland China. Now that others category is 175, and I think that's mostly people on cruise ships, I'm guessing.
Oh, I wouldn't want to be on a cruise ship right now.
No, and it's just being in confined quarters, too easy to spread.
Yeah, I remember, I think it was last year when they were having stomach flu stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and, I've gone through a nasty case of that type of thing that hits cruise ships, and it hit our retirement community that I ran. And, we had like 150, 160 people totally between residents and staff, and I think that maybe only like 5 or 6 of us didn't get sick. Wow. It hit almost everybody.
Wow.
So that red dot is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. You see the one in Japan's growing too. So after others, we have Singapore and Hong Kong both have 50 confirmed cases. Thailand 33, South Korea 28, Japan 28. Malaysia 18, Taiwan 18, Germany 16, Australia 15, Vietnam 15, US 14, 11 in France, 10 Macau, 9 in the UK, 9 in the UAE, 7 in Canada, 3 in Italy, 3 in the Philippines. And again, even these numbers we really don't believe are actually accurate. And here is worldometers as well, which, again, you see that massive spike straight up. Woo! So very interesting to observe this. And, of course, that will make anybody a little bit nervous. And here we see Hubei province reports 14,840 new cases, including a new category of clinically diagnosed. 242 dead. So that was in one day. One day is what they're giving us now. Total dead globally is 1,360. Chinese state media on total COVID 2019 cases has changed its categories. So they've redefined the way it counts it now. As you see down here, this is Eunice Yoon's Twitter. Raising belief it wants to manipulate the numbers. So everybody's, we were screaming at them saying, come on, it's 10 times that. Maybe it's 100 times that. So now maybe they're just starting to give truer numbers is part of the case. Or are we going to jump along the other side and say now they want to blow this up maybe out of proportion? It's just like global warming and grand solar minimum in some ways. You have people on both sides that want to, that have a mindset and that are just, trying to push the data that proves their point. And honestly, we're so suspicious and cynical, and I think it's good to be suspicious and cynical.
Well, yeah, what's the agenda? What's the end goal here?
Well, a lot of us have our own thoughts on that. So, again, raising the belief it wants to manipulate the numbers, jury out on that. Red parts show revisions and protocols. Hubei now has 3 categories, including new clinically diagnosed, i.e. diagnosed with CT scan only, no test kit, because there wasn't even test kits available. And we're going to see that things are changing on a big scale. As far as, they're mobilizing everything they can now. And so I'm going to jump over this. So shoe and diaper makers now are starting to make masks. So, it's just like in wartime, they don't produce Chevys and Fords and GMs anymore. They stopped, like in World War II, there was no production of cars. They were all making airplanes, half-tracks, tanks, things like that. So everything changes when you're in a crisis situation. And so let's go back to Eunice here. So part of it's the fact that they're recognizing they don't have the kits. So now the ones that they believe probably have it, they're including them in the numbers. So that's what we're really seeing. And I'm glad to see this nice gentleman is taking care of his dog too. And both he and the dog have masks on. So they should not get harassed by the powers that be, hopefully, because we've seen an awful lot of harassment going on. And so over here out of Zero Hedge, China reports huge jump in new coronavirus infections and deaths. Oil stocks are tumbling. Oil and stocks are tumbling. And so, the impact on a economic scale is going to be massive, which we know. We know. And, it's starting to really, I think, sink in for some, because there's almost this little lull, this feeling of, the cases are leveling off the last 2 days a little bit. And then today it was like, what?
Well, they were leveling off, but if they've changed the way they count them, wouldn't it be easy to just jump them to wherever they want them to be?
Yeah, the case is again. So what is the true numbers?
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you for the $20. Okay, I've been following for a few years. Great info. I remember when you did a great live stream from Kuro's shop that had a museum in the basement. Zowie, like wowie. Thank you, Zowie.
Thank you, Zowie. It's truly appreciated. And every video we did today was demonetized, just so you guys know. Every single one. It's yellow across the board. Mm-hmm. But that's the times that we're in. And, like Zoom Truth says, coronavirus is a hoax. Is it a coincidence that the flu season's so bad? How do we know? I think people are dying. I don't doubt that. I think a lot of the stuff that we have seen from now, there's people that believe we never landed in the moon, and that the earth is flat. There's all these different beliefs out there. And, I've seen some feeds from the International Space Station that look like, this is total BS. I've seen them have their hair going straight up, and then all of a sudden they drop a pen or drop a pencil and it goes flat down, right. So is it staged? Some things are staged. I guarantee that. But I don't doubt that people are dying in mass. I think that's real. I think the crematoriums are burning. So is it this particular COVID 2019? That I don't know, but are people dying? I think so. Yeah, I do agree.
Well, I agree that people are dying also, but I'm also looking at what do they want? They want control and they want lockdown.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, and like Raven says, they got adverts. Yeah, it's interesting how that works, so that's part of what we've noticed too. And most definitely, Raven, thank you for the fabulous live. Was that last night?
Yes.
It was. Wow.
It was awesome.
It was great. I enjoyed that. That was one of my favorites ever. It was just so interesting.
Lots of great comments on that, Raven. Thank you so much. I hope we do like a regular thing with that.
Okay, so Zoom Truth says, what evidence makes you think people are dying en masse? Well, the reactions to some people that are over there or were over there, and that saw the panic, saw everything that's going on, and now are back in this country. So what they experience tells me that, yeah, people are sick and dying. That's the main thing. And then also some of the videos, it's you got to go by feel. And then just seeing what we're seeing. I mean, this is a perfect lockdown case. And, we might be looking at the triggering event that leads to, basically a global medical martial law, situation. And who knows when that would end.
Well, yeah, and that's why I'm so on the fence, because they have to make this look really good if they want us to comply with their medical martial law.
H.C. Holbert just brought up another part too, and as you see this, I have no doubts about that, because that's another big huge part of everything that's going on, and it's going to be mandatory. Now look at this type of situation. Say there is this. Say the U.S. goes the same route, and we're going to get into some creepy stuff going on now about that. And the only way you're going to get out of being in a quarantine zone is taking the V, right? And that's the only way you're going to get out, is you have to take the V and then stay in quarantine for 14 days. And then if you're okay, then you'll be able to leave. Otherwise, you got to stay in a camp. So, that I think is a real possibility too. And that is super scary.
Well, yeah, I mean, and for them to make this case, they have to present certain information and make it look really realistic. So that's my concern. It's a huge concern of mine.
Most definitely. And, we could pick apart every single big event that happened. And, I did videos on the LVS that Zoom was talking about. And I saw evidence that there were squads in certain positions. So, yeah, I think it was. Do I think that they were all crisis actors? No, I don't think they were crisis actors, because I don't think they care. These powers that we're talking about, these beings, don't really respect life. So I don't think that they're all crisis actors. I think people really do suffer, so... But, false flags exist. I think that's most definitely for sure. And so, this is big. This is really big. And so the cases, again, exploded by almost 15,000. Look at the graph. Little false sense of security. Last couple of days, not looking so bad. Not too good. Maybe this is going to be another one. It's going to peter out. And then, just hit China hard. And then, whoa. And the thing is, two of them. One was by Jack London that talked of this exact scenario. One was, I think, back in the 40s, and one was in the 60s. Again, interesting coincidence? I don't know.
Well, I remember one thing that I kept hearing over and over and over again. I think it was last year, was they...
Okay, well, let's come back. It says stop.
Raven says reload. I'm trying.
Stream resume. Guys, do you got us still? Can you hear us? Yeah, they just shut me down, but after I did that one, let's see.
We're back.
Okay.
Says yes.
When I did that video today about President Trump and the military numbers and stuff, then somebody got into my computer. And I couldn't do anything, so I had to just actually literally unplug it, So, and then it was acting super weird, and Cindy's like, I know they're hacking in because this is what I used to do.
It is, and I could tell somebody was trying to take over your computer, or they probably already took it over. So, unplug, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, they are, most definitely, and that tells me we're, on the right track here. Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Yeah, I know we are on the target, and so This is part of the bigger picture, and we see it, and you guys see it as well.
Yeah, control.
It's all about control.
They want control.
And so, while we're looking at this, we were looking at this in zero hedge. This is incredible. This spread upwards, and it's probably only just catching up to what already has happened in reality.
It is. And, I was saying that we got cut off is they never, ever let a good crisis go to waste.
Okay, so this is the main thing we got to get across tonight. And, now we're getting out of many different areas. And this is Military Times. And we have this out of Marines.military news. And here we have Homeland as well. And this is Twisted Truth. They're getting ready for it here. That's the thing. Whatever it is, what exactly it is, it doesn't matter because they're getting ready for it here.
Right. No, it doesn't matter. It's just, they have to make the case and buy into it. My hope is it's not real, but it could be. So we don't want to be careless and foolish, but they want control.
Yep. And hey, Gary, good to see you. Yeah, 11 bases to quarantine incoming flights is what they're saying. Incoming flights, that's what the 11 bases are for. There's more things going on. Mark's talking about keep getting knocked off. Yeah, things have been acting weird today. My phone locked up on me today. I was trying to reply to my buddy Dave over in the UK, and it wouldn't let me. I had to shut it down. I actually think I'm more suspicious, and I know there's going to be a lot of sun stuff coming. The sun's going to start to wake up now a little bit. So we are going to see some issues as far as perhaps some outages and things like that. But I think also right now they're locking down, locking down, seeing how efficiently they can lock things down. I'm concerned with when we can't talk to you guys and when we can't connect. I talked to David Devine, you guys know, on a regular basis, and Wages World, Blue Kool-Aid, we talk almost every day now. There's other channels too, stay in touch with Steve, WSO, and, it's great when you can connect and be like, what did you hear, what's going down, that type of stuff. And soon, that's going to be the panic point when it's boom, we can't get through to anybody. Nobody could get through to us. And Rosemary, yeah, we talk all the time too. That's going to be the time when everybody's going to really get that knot in their stomach.
Yeah. If we allow it, my hope is that we can somehow navigate this, get around it, get through it, deal with it, cope with it, and we won't have this big, huge issue on our hands.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, everybody's got to do what they could do in their own way. Mm-hmm. There's part of me that would love to just take the camper and escape up into the Canadian woods if it was summer. or go over the border, head down into Central America. Actually interesting. They're watching 2 cases in Mexico, but Mexico has no official cases so far. But anywhere we go, it's going to have issues. So there's 2 different lines of thought. I do think it's good to be obviously somewhat isolated in these times.
Yeah. And don't get sick.
Yeah, and take precautions. Have that hand wash, sanitizer. Yeah. In your car at all times or in your purse if you're a lady, and just make sure, keep it in your pocket if you're a guy, and just be using it constantly. So U.S. military prepping for coronavirus pandemic, and so they're getting ready now. The military is getting ready. Northern Command is executing plans to prepare for the potential pandemic of the coronavirus, now called COVID-19. Has anybody analyzed that in deep, numerology or gematria? I wonder if Mr. What was his name? Mr. I forget his name. There's this gematria guy that does stuff. I wonder if he's done anything on that. You guys are probably already picking up his name. I don't see anybody mention his name, But he's a gematria guy that I subscribe to. Curious. And of course there's online gematria things that anybody could plug into as well. Interesting. Zero Rich, why'd you bring up Lovelock, Nevada? Do you live up that way? That's where the giants and that cave was. I made a video about it. Got demonetized. They don't like that subject.
Oh,
so
Raven says, look at what Raven said. COV to banish.
Oh, to banish.
The psyche or individual.
Interesting.
Yeah. Leave it to Raven.
Yes. I'm glad you shared that. Mr. Caddy. Thank you. That's who I'm thinking about, Mr. Caddy. I wonder if he's deciphered this name and plugged it in and seen what it comes out to. Lovelock Cave Giants. Interesting stuff. And I find it so interesting. I loved Art Bell, and I used to always just go to sleep listening to Art Bell. He was like my idol in so many ways. And, I'd always hear from the high desert, in Nevada, and then here I am.
Here you are.
I'm in Art Bell territory.
You are in Art Bell territory.
Yeah, it's so funny the way things have worked out. I never thought I'd end up in Art Bell's backyard. So, yeah, get ready, guys, because they're getting ready now, and so Pentagon has a blueprint for planning and preparing for widespread dispersion of influenza and previously unknown diseases. So, it's getting ready. It's getting ready. And these are those messages. This one's Maradmin 08220. So they're telling the commanders, get ready for containment plans. I just so pray that we don't look like China and what we're seeing in China as the WHO says, you know what? China's doing great. We all need to emulate China. Oh, yeah.
I know, and that's where I'm so torn, because the things that they're showing in China, they have to look so horrific that we're just going to go along with this quarantine, no problemo.
Yeah. And, okay, so MMB says, time to head to family in the Western Virginia mountains. They are vast and beautiful, most definitely. Thank you, Zoom Truth. You never want to ban people or ban opinions. And I know people are going to disagree. Like I did the video today talking about President Trump, and obviously there was a lot of disagreement. So, I know that's coming. And I just brought up BP because so many people said, did you see what BP said? And BP Earthwatch, and I like BP Earthwatch. I've really liked him as a person. I think he's a guy with a big heart, and I think he does a fabulous job with all the weather stuff. I just never liked his politics, but I still like him, so we don't agree on politics, but now I feel like he's waking up some. But again, everybody has their own opinion, so it's good to respectfully disagree. Mm-hmm. And here is that communication. And so it's basically, we're getting ready now, And as Cindy was saying, medical martial law is
far worse. Yeah. Far, far worse. They make it sound like we will wish we had regular martial law.
That's pretty scary.
Seriously scary. Yeah. Because then we lose control of our bodies.
Well, that's what we're talking about. I don't want to take any forced, V's. Hell no, because no. So then what happens? And we're gonna jump over to some of that stuff as well. So I have all the links there for you guys. And again, this is U.S. Marine Corps Disease Containment Preparedness Planning Guidance for COVID. And FEMA is going to hold mass casualty drills. So, again, that's pretty ominous. You would expect them to do it. Yeah. You would expect them to do it looking at what we were seeing over there. And so this drill is authorized by the Department of Homeland Security, scheduled to take place on the 3rd of March in Ravenna, Nebraska. Rue, are you in the house? I think I saw Rue in the house. I'm not sure if I saw Andrew in the house.
We did see Rue.
But Nebraska, yep, an isolated community, home to fewer than 2,000 people. FEMA selected Ravenna because its remoteness and because the media is unlikely to catch wind of or take interest in government exercises in Podunk, Middle America. So they're going to send 700 full-time employees to Ravenna, some of whom will role play. Oh, okay. Victims of a hypothetical sickness, eerily like the novel coronavirus, that has infected at least 42,000, 60,000, killed like 1,300, confirmed, mainland China. The rest of FEMA's workforce is going to portray a Gestapo-style police force tasked with detaining, interrogating, and incarcerating looters and insurrectionists that FEMA will have paid to emulate ransacking the neighborhood and defying mandatory federal quarantine orders. FEMA, our source said, will pull the volunteers from among Ravenna's population. The CDC, he added, is coordinating with FEMA on the exercise, and at least 15 CDC physicians will be on scene to evaluate and treat persons infected with the pretend virus. Some civilians will receive forced inoculations, but the vaccination is allegedly a placebo made of sterile water and harmless fillers. Yeah, sure. FEMA Acting Director Pete Gaynor, Department of Homeland Security Chairman Chad Wolf, and CDC Deputy Director Ann Schuot. How would you say it? Schuot. Yeah. Okay. Will be on site. These are big names on site, even though I can't pronounce Ann's last name properly, to evaluate FEMA and the CDC's performance. That's a lot of brass for a simple training exercise. Yeah, the heads of 3 agencies attending a field exercise? Sure. Yeah, what do you guys make of all that, man?
That's pretty, oh, my. Thank you so much. Oh, keep up the great work. Thank you, Eminem 3640. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much for your support. Mm-hmm. So, dingo booty. Yeah. Well, that's basically it. But 3 heads of these departments are going to be taking part in that drill. That's not a typical drill. Oh, man. Now, it's interesting. I'll share with you guys. I have 3 friends that have clinically died and come back. And 2 of them mentioned to me recently that they felt like, and this is, actually 6 months ago, that they felt it was time to get out of the U.S., is what they had said. And so 2 of them were starting to look at land down in Costa Rica and Central America just because of that. And, maybe this is part of what they were sensing and feeling. I've felt that for a long time. It'd be better to be outside of the U.S., although other countries have their issues. It'd be worse to be in China, that's for sure. But, there's no way I'd ever move to China. I would never even go visit China because of the government, even though I love Chinese history. I'm very into Chinese history, into the culture, into the martial arts and all that. And but yet I wouldn't dream of going over there with that government.
There's the problem with trying to go anywhere else is that this is the World Health Organization, and it's a global thing, so where are you going to go?
Yeah, Dave Lewis says Blue Hats will go everywhere. So, yeah, I want to be where there's less people per square mile so it just doesn't, pay for them to come and bother you.
That's true, because it does cost gas and manpower and stuff to go places. So I think it's going to be, I don't know which areas, but I want to be secluded.
Well, I was telling Cindy, too, hey, I just saw a lot up in Lovelock, Nevada, because, there's not a lot of people up that way. And they'll take 500 down, 200 a month, for that lot. So you can find deals on some places that are far out there. And Darlene says she'll have to drive out to New Mexico. New Mexico, Arizona, 2 of my favorite places, as far as for these times as well. And Nevada has very few people as well. We talked about Alaska. Surprisingly, Alaska's land is really expensive. And that's, again, government control because there's resources up there. And 85% of Nevada is owned by the federal government. So 85% of the state, is basically government lands. That's mind-blowing. But you know what? There's a lot of gold and stuff out there.
Lots of Anunnaki gold.
Yes, the Anunnaki gold. So, this is most definitely very ominous. All this is very, very ominous. How much time do we have? Is it going to look like China all over again here? Whether or not there's a lot of cases, you're seeing this. Department of Defense, Homeland Security, Department of Health and Human Services, all these, they're all coordinating now, obviously. But what's that going to look like? Yeah, that's scary stuff. So jumping over to some of the other stuff, we see literally 10 days after Diamond Princess's entry into Japan was first delayed, government has finally cottoned to the idea that it might be a good idea to test everybody for the coronavirus, and we'll try to boost the number it could test in a day to 1,000. And here we see the Diamond Princess. They got 44 more people on board that have tested positive. So the total on that ship alone is 218. So that's more than the other, which was like 175 now. So I don't know how they're keeping track of this stuff. I don't think they know how they're keeping track of this stuff. And maybe that's part of the whole plan there. Here you see a cruise ship that nobody will take. And a cruise ship subject of coronavirus fears is just anchoring off of Cambodia because it's been turned away from 4 countries and nobody wants them.
Right. So, like, again, where is there to hide?
Well, there's 10,000 islands in Florida.
Okay.
We had talked about that again. If you could handle it, there's a lot of places to disappear to. And so, we still are seeing tons of this. And will we see this in the U.S.? That's my question is, will we see this type of thing breaking out? And, he has his mask on. He goes to grab a stick. Unfortunately, a guy gets to him quick. Very quickly. I hope we don't see stuff like this here. But
no.
Will we?
Okay. We won't. Fear not, MAGA. Trust the plan. Okie dokie. Thank you so much for your support. Appreciate it.
Thank you. It's me and SD. We truly appreciate your support. This feels very ominous. And whether or not this is all this virus and the workings of this virus, or if it's something else or combinations of things, it's this type of stuff that's creepy. It's this type of stuff that's just like, open up your door. What? I'm in my apartment. I'm self-isolating. Mm-hmm. What did I do wrong? Who knows what you did wrong? But there's like 20 guys coming for you. What are you going to do? I mean, this affords, and they're going and they're checking in his apartment. Okay, maybe that's his wife or somebody laying down there. Well, this is scary. This feels like Nazi Germany on steroids, what we're seeing. So, do I think this video these are all actors and all staged? I doubt it. I don't think they're all staged. I really don't think they're all staged. Are some of them staged? Maybe. Maybe some. But regardless, what we are seeing is this is enabling Big Brother to do whatever Big Brother wants. And that's the bottom line with that.
Yeah.
Just, again, taking people in the middle of the night. And how about this guy? He's got his hands out. It doesn't look like he was resisting too hard, and they're getting a little rough with him. Yeah, he's got his hands out there. He's keeping them right out there. It makes my blood boil, honestly, looking at this stuff. And then we see, some people are having fun under quarantine. Look at this.
Yeah. Always look on the bright side. Always look on the happy side. Oh, boy.
Yeah, everybody is different. Everybody reacts in their own way.
Yeah, they do. And the thing is, though, is if they can keep us in fear, we are so extremely controllable. That's why I don't want to sink to fear. Plus, fear lowers the immune system. So there's many reasons to not let this strike you in your heart as fear based.
Yeah. And so Sandra says she won't conform. There's a lot of us too, and honestly, looking at these videos, it does get my blood boiling a little bit. So it's like, you start thinking about like watching these guys going and running down somebody, and you start thinking in terms of, well, I'll take a few of them out. It's just, you don't want to obviously endanger others, but at the same time, it looks like there's a lot of brutality going on. We saw that one girl, a girl who, couldn't defend herself at all, pulled out by like 4 guys, and then it really looked like she was dead, like somebody snapped her neck. It's just sad.
It is. It's pretty ridiculous, and then there's so much deceit interwoven through all of this that it's really hard to pick apart what's real, what's not real, because one thing is that they're not telling the truth. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah. And then when we look at the bigger picture, Ian, what are they really doing? Well, most definitely there's entities behind the scenes that are lowering everybody's vibration, again, creating the division, creating the distrust. And there's reasons to not trust authority. And that's real. We could go into so many different things. You could look into the Bay of Pigs. You could look at the Tuskegee Airmen. You could look at all the people that were there for nuclear tests that were told everything's going to be fine and were exposed to radiation, in the military, and then later on ended up dying young. And there's people that knew that was going to happen, but still, they didn't protect them. And then I did videos too where the entire city of San Francisco was exposed to a pathogen, and it was just a test. It was a biological test.
Right. So,
and
I don't know. So is this whole thing like a test? It's just so crazy. Like, what do you believe, really?
Exactly. And like what Norma says, and that's part of it. They've been pushing. Mm-hmm. They've been pushing that whole thing, and there's reasons why they want to. It helps them to keep control over people. So this and we don't know exactly what's going on, obviously, but something's going on. And you see, schools in Hong Kong will remain closed till at least March 16th now, due to the coronavirus. And here we see what is the negative result of the new crown virus nucleic acid test that affects the accuracy rate. Well, just simply that it's just breaking down to say that there's a lot of false negatives. And if they retest later, they turn out to be positive. So that's a really dangerous situation, especially when you think about it. If something was constructed in that manner, so that people are tested, no, they're okay. All right, well, go ahead. And then meanwhile, infect 4 or 5 people, because they didn't think they were, and then they are. And so here we see, this is Muyi Zhao. The drastic increase of confirmed COVID-19 cases is due to the change of diagnostic standard. So previously it depended on testing kit available results. Now it only needs symptoms and a CT scan, and that's only in Hubei. Many of the 14,000 quote-unquote new cases are people who didn't have a chance to be tested by the kits. So that's what is going on there, as we were saying. And we see a Hoosier, if somebody from Indiana, who traveled in China, is monitored for the coronavirus in Wayne County, Indiana. There's lots of these going on, and most of them are, quote-unquote, from what I've seen, not testing positive. But then again, we just talked about the false negatives. And so we see Chinese factories, there's a revised new opening now. It's May 1st. So things are getting pushed out. So, we're at February here, and you're going to have nothing going on till May. Boy, the global economic situation is going to be just so massively impacted.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I'm watching too, because if they say something is going to happen, then I kind of like to see it happening. Like if things are going to be in short supply, then I personally want to see it, and that's one measure we can use to see how honest they're being or dishonest.
And here we see that they have their scapegoat, or at least the first scapegoat. Jiang Chaoliang has been removed as party secretary of Hubei province, according to state-run media. No reason given. And as I was joking to Cindy, I said, they probably said, hey, Jiang, you're fired. Come with us. Take my back. Bang. I mean, that's what it feels like. May or may not be the case, but, that's what it feels like over there. So you see, breaking news, China's conducting a clinical trial of 24,000 milligrams a day of intravenous vitamin C for coronavirus patients. They will receive it for 7 days straight at Zhongnan Hospital of Wuhan University. And so, this has showed some promise, massive doses of vitamin C. And they're doing it intravenously, and, that way also the hospitals get to charge you massive amounts per dose. And over here we see the virus may cut China's demand for iron ore by 13.7 million tons from Bloomberg. Again, it's about the massive scale that will not be fully known for a long time of what's exactly going to happen economically. And, you guys, we talked about this in one of our first reports. There was a video that came out in 2010 in which a gentleman is saying that there was a source that were Freemasons, and they were joking about China catching a cold. And this is back in 2010. And, obviously people have put two and two together and, recognizes that, this might be what was talked about. And that was from 2010. And that was really interesting video as well. And then as I've shared, and I'll dig them up maybe for tomorrow's talk with Dr. Paul, there's two other books that are very, very similar. So, predictive programming, some sort of intuitive ability, what's going on here, or just part of a plan that's been there for a long, long time.
I don't know. I'm just sort of sitting here kind of in a semi-stupor, kind of watching and waiting to see what's going to happen, kind of at the edge of my seat sort of thing. Yeah.
Grumpy Troll in the house there. So you're talking about the Jesuits, and we were talking about the Black Pope briefly. Dr. Enoch Metatron, good to have you as always, my friend. And the effects of the Han body after contracted and so recovered. Well, it's interesting that there's been several cases that I've seen where people got minorly sick, to maybe moderately sick, and then were feeling better and thought to be on the recovery path, and then they got extremely sick, like a second sort of wave or a second component to this virus. And it's interesting. Mm-hmm. It is interesting. White porcelain in the house. And somebody had said too, Alex Jones, and those words get you in trouble right there. Mm-hmm. Talked about this. He has been. A lot of people, think that he's also a plant or working for the Israeli government, Mossad. And again, there's so much truth, but half truth or truth with a twist. He has been talking about all these things forever. David Icke's been talking about stuff forever too. And like I said before, I thought he was super entertaining, but a little bit crazy. And but yeah, as more time has gone by, the less crazy he seems. And here you see a Saudi Arabian man suspected of showing symptoms of the virus has gone missing, and this is over in the Himalayas in Nepal. Beautiful country. I've never been there, but yet I have memories of there at the same time. San Diego lab discovers coronavirus vaccine in 3 hours. And Inovio Pharmaceuticals created a vaccine that's going through preclinical trials. So, they're in a race against the clock, and they're trying to get a vaccine out on the market. And you want to talk about a moneymaker? Wow. I mean, what type of money would that make? And so, they're going to trials, and we'll see what comes. Because the official sources have been saying 12 to 18 months. And then you see things like this, and some say we could do it quicker. So Dr. Trevor Smith, who is the Director of Research and Development at Inovio, said, it's something that we are trained to do, and the infrastructure is here, and the expertise is in the house. So when Chinese scientists released the genetic sequence on January 9th, Inovio researchers got to work immediately, and within 3 hours they had a vaccine for coronavirus, or the COVID-19. We have an algorithm which we designed, and we put the DNA sequence into our algorithm and came up with the vaccine in that short amount of time. Tens of thousands in China have been quarantined, continue to suffer from the virus. That's why scientists at Inovio Pharmaceuticals say they feel a sense of urgency to get the vaccine out. The vaccine's been tested on mice and guinea pigs, and next will be tried on a group of humans. So you want to be one of those first ones? Scientists hope the vaccine will work like a piece of biological software. In other words, the vaccine will give the human body instructions to create the proper attack in the form of T cells and antibodies against COVID-19. If it all goes as planned, the vaccine could be made available to the public by early this summer, which would be record time. And we will see. And that would be in time for the second wave from what I've been hearing. Why does this feel like Resident Evil?
Well, it's really disgusting. I mean, it's gut-turning that this is all about, follow the money. That's really all we need to do. It sounds like Resident Evil because it is. It's freaking evil.
Yeah. You just wonder what's in those biolabs, deep underground bases, all sorts of stuff. So, okay, satellite still shows sulfur dioxide levels at toxic levels over Wuhan. Yeah, I really do feel very sad for the people of China and Wuhan in particular. And, very, very apprehensive about what's coming for the rest of us as well.
Yeah, I'm still trying to pick this apart in my head. Maybe that's just my left brain issue.
So, yeah, there was a message there and talking about Resident Evil being predictive programming. And so that makes me, I had never got rid of this. I couldn't let myself get rid of this. Do you guys remember this? And so this was from 5/20, so May 20th, 2018. Power outage and zombie alert for residents of Lake Worth and Terminus. There are now far less than 7,380 customers involved due to extreme zombie activity. Restoration time uncertain.
It's just wrong.
That really went out. That was in Florida. Somebody sent this out, and that's crazy stuff. And we're talking about predictive programming. Maybe there's some of those that are in the know that every now and then it might throw a herring at us, throw something at us.
Yeah, they just might.
Yeah, JP Watchman. Yeah, Terminus. You remember what happened in Terminus? Banging people over the head and put them on the chopping block for food.
That's just wrong.
That's what it was. Angry Grand, 99.9% are zombies. Yeah, a high portion are zombies. As Zoom says, they mock us. They definitely mock us. Most definitely. Mary says that the CV tests from CDC have false negative 40 to 50% of the time. Terminus was a honeypot. Yeah. Zombies. Yeah. Hey, Larry. Good to see you, brother. Thank you, my friend. Yeah, that whole zombie thing. I tell you, that's the way they view us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do. We're objects for them.
And we see a Hawaii resident placed in mandatory quarantine after returning from epicenter of outbreak. So, it's still ongoing. It feels like we're only in the, beginning phases of this, really. I was so hoping that was going to die out and just be something that, was an isolated event. But with what's going on, the preparations on the government level, FEMA, Homeland, yeah, it looks like they're getting ready for it to come over here, though we only have, just like 13, 14 cases, 14, I think now, that's nothing, but there again, how many people have they really been testing?
But they've also changed how they qualify it. Now it's by site.
But that was over in China. That was over in China. That's not here. So, but over here, how many people are they actually testing with the actual test for this particular virus? I wonder, because, we have, let me look it up real quick.
Okay, here. Okay. Yeah, so, when they change the rules around, like all the numbers are going to change, but then that's just for China. So, I don't know, you guys. It's just all so confusing. It just makes me want to stay so healthy.
Yeah, so here you go. CDC estimates so far this season there's been at least 22 million flus cases. 22 million in the U.S. 210 hospitalizations. 210,000 hospitalizations. So, that's like 1 out of every 100 flu cases getting hospitalized. Interesting how the numbers are working there. And 12,000 deaths from the flu. So, how do we know that not, 500, 1,000, 2,000 of those? How do we know that they weren't this? I don't know if we know.
No, and we do know that every year, like, the flu numbers do go up, but I think that's also because they are attacking our immune system with a lot of EMF and a lot of bad food, a lot of low vibration, a lot of fear. There's a lot of reasons for us to get sick, and that's something we really need to fight.
And I see the comments about this is apples and oranges, and this is very different than the flu. But if they're not testing, how do they know? If of those cases, right, there's 22 million flu cases this year, 210,000 hospitalizations. Okay, out of that 210,000 hospitalizations, how many of those people were tested for this particular COVID-19? I don't know. I am guessing it's probably not a hell of a lot, so I don't know. I don't know if Raven's still there. We just don't know. So it's been a really rough flu season, though. If they test positive for the flu, they don't test the COVID. Yeah. Okay.
Darlene, do you work at a hospital? Do you know that for sure? I'm just curious. Oh, you said I think. Okay, got it.
And that very well may be the case, And then again, as we know, there's multiple strands of flu, and usually when they make the V for the flu, it's for a particular strain that they guess at, and then if it isn't, the prevailing strain, then it doesn't really work. So, we'll see what's coming, guys. I want to thank everybody for their support, as always, both here, also on Ko-Fi and Patreon. We will be back with Dr. Paul Cottrell at 3 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow and noon Pacific Time. Yes. And see what he is up to.
And thanks for showing up so late, you guys. We appreciate it. God bless and namaste.
Yeah, be safe out there. Take your precautions. Keep prepping. God bless and namaste.